of my thoughts are ready to pretend. How will my head get back to thinking straight again? But I can't see an out, and I don't mean to put all my doubt on you. And I know you're struggling too. Can you carry the weight? Can you carry the weight? Can you carry the weight of my world? Can you carry the weight of my world? Can you carry the weight of my world? Can you carry the weight, carry the weight of my
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Hope all is well. It is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. I want to say a massive hello to everyone in the live chat. How are we all doing? Atomic Teapot the Game Cat. Yay. Hello Myles. Well, hello Atomic Teapot the Game Cat. The Game Cat names never fail to make me smile. Hope you're doing good. Massive hello to Chrome Colossus. We got Dominic McGuire. We got Mojo. Hello. Dominic says, I feel like I've missed my chance to have coloured lights. Well, it took a while to set this studio up, but having the lights has definitely been a good thing. And I have a setting that I can do on any of the lights that I can just have it like rotate colours. And I've just realised today that when I have everything else turned off, having this in the back changing colour actually works really, really well. Jason, Myles, says Jason. Jason, hope you're doing good. So I'm just going to say, right, the last couple of days I stumbled across a really fun game someone was playing with their friend. It was an Instagram reel. It was like a quiz, and it had like 4 questions on it because it was an Instagram reel. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is such a cool quiz idea. It could be around in one of my regular quizzes. And I actually went away and I started working on it. And I realised this could be the entire show. And so I had a really cool quiz plan for today. But 2 reasons why I'm not doing it. First one is because I think it would be better if I had a guest on the show to do the quiz with. Obviously, I'd be doing it with all of you out there. We'll be doing polls so that you can vote on the answer. I think that's going to be really, really great. And just with everything else going on, it was too last minute with getting things planned for that today. Secondly, when last week's live show was starting, it was just after the news came out regarding the shooting of a political commentator, Charlie Kirk, that everyone will probably know about because it was all over the news. Understandably, it was an incredibly shocking event. And it had just happened before the live stream. So someone in the chat had mentioned it. I did talk about it like at the start of the show, even though we were talking about like nostalgic reflections on like the 90s and 2000s with apps and websites, and that was a really fun topic last week. So I said a few words about it, but obviously I was still processing it and collating my thoughts. And then obviously the like aftermath of it, and I don't think it necessarily comes down to just that event. I think that it's clear that we are living in times with just an escalation in anger, existentialism, and just deep unrest, especially in the Western world. And obviously having an international audience, I'm very interested to hear how people feel in their own countries with things at the moment. And so a part of me was like, I want to talk about this, and I could have done it next week. But I thought, you know what, we had a bit of a fun one last week. This is still pretty fresh in the mind. And I thought that is what we could talk about today. So, you know, why is the world so angry right now? There are many ways of answering that question. Some people might even debate whether the world is like angry right now, or is it just the same as it always has? It's just the algorithms and the perceptions that just amplify concerns that people have and stuff. So today I just wanted to have an open conversation about it, share some of my thoughts, of course hear yours, and what I definitely love about this live chat is, and in the comments afterwards as well, is I like that everyone remains respectful. I mean, our community is called Empathy Arcade, I like that we can have robust discussions about things, and this is something that I know has been on the mind of many people. It does feel like the world is losing its effing mind, and I thought we could talk about it. I also had some comments, I think it was on my last post about me doing Let's Plays again, which I'll get to in a moment, and they were just saying, hey Myles, are you going to do any more, I don't know if they were saying videos about societal issues and that, because obviously I've done lots of videos on it in the past, and I mean, I don't really make videos much anymore anyway. And it just made me think, I still talk about societal issues, and today could be a moment for that. But before I get into the chat and read some of the comments and that, I will just say that something that has been nice at the moment is the fact that I have returned to doing Let's Plays. I realise that this is still the old image. Let's Plays. Actually, I've got this one here. I think that was the old one. Really happy to be doing PSVR 2 Let's Plays again. So, for those that don't know, I try and Let's Play, do live streams of every single PSVR 2 game out there, and I have done 250 around about, and I do them like once every 3 months now, and it's because of my weekly schedule. I tend to sleep on a weekday until 11 a.m, like noon, because then I start work. Everything starts up around 2-3 p.m. my time. We have sort of a kickoff call at 4-5 p.m. in the evening, and then I work until the early hours of the morning. That is like my week, and so finding time in the evening is not great, because to do a Let's Play, I try and go for an hour, might do 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours if it's a really engaging game. I just go with the flow. But the problem is, you also need setup time, which could be like half an hour, just because I want to make sure everything's working and getting all the cameras set up and the lighting, because it's downstairs in my living room. I do need to arrange stuff. And so what I decided to do this week was shake up my schedule. And so if you haven't been aware, starting on Monday of this week, every day I've been doing a Let's Play at 10 o'clock in the morning UK time, which is 11 a.m. Central European time. It is 5 a.m. Eastern time, and it is 2 a.m. Pacific time. But I know I have a global audience, and I know that no matter when I do them, there are people that can tune in and those that can't. And what was interesting was on Monday morning, some of you from Australia were like, oh, it's evening for me. This is great. I can watch it. And I'm hoping that if I just keep it as a consistent flow, no matter when people can tune in, because the views have been okay at the moment, not a huge amount, but I'm hoping that perhaps if I start getting this into a routine, it will start collating an audience that is just used to the fact of like, okay, if I'm not watching live streams, I'm able to watch it on replay now. And I'm trying to make them more concise, and by that I don't mean necessarily just trying to shorten them, but I used to let's play games and go, yeah, I can just play a few more rounds, whereas now I'm much more eager to be like, no, I've done a round of it, that's enough, I can now give my thoughts, and if people want more, then people want more. So that's what I'm doing, but the impact on me is twofold. On the one hand, I think it's really beneficial for me because it now means I have a structured morning instead of just waking up at like 11, 12 being like, okay, I guess I could get lunch now and go for a walk and then get ready for work. Now it's like up at 8:30, 9 a.m, get ready, do the Let's Play at 10 a.m, then go for a walk, get some food, have a shower, and then get ready for my day. And I think having that rigid structure in the morning is good. Also, it's the whole don't let perfect be enemy of the good. Doing a Let's Play once in a blue moon at an ideal time is one thing, but doing them consistently and actually catching up with the catalogue on a weekday at a not so ideal time, I think it's better. The negative side, and I'm hoping that this is only going to be temporary, and it might be because I'm actually conflicting with other stuff I've got going on, is I'm not feeling very good at the moment. And I think sometimes it can be when you've done a change to your routine. If you ever want to change your sleep cycle, it's less about changing when you go to bed, it's about changing when you wake up. And so the fact that I'm waking up at a much earlier time now, I think that going to bed around midnight instead of 3, 4 a.m, I think it's working out a bit better for me now. So although I'm not feeling great now, and I've been hugging green tea and honey with a dash of lemon, which I love to do, yeah, that's something I'm going to stick with. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you feel it's going so far, but I've been doing it Monday, Tuesday, even this morning. I played some shovelware this morning, and don't ask me to repeat the game name because it's so long I can never remember. Neither could I on the stream. So there was that. And then, yeah, I'll be doing it Thursday, Friday. Whether I do it at the weekend, a part of me wants to do it, but the other part of me is like, this is exactly how you overdo it. Like, sometimes when I want to get into a routine of going to the gym, I go to the gym, and if I did just 30 minutes a day, that'd be amazing. But it's like, I'm going to do 90 minutes. And then I do it, and then I'm exhausted and not feeling good, or I get put off subconsciously, and then I can't keep it up. It's what we say with like the 2-minute rule. Oh, I want to meditate, 20 minutes a day. No. Just do 2 minutes. Because then, you'll do it more consistently, and sometimes you will do more. And so again, probably not going to do it at the weekends. We'll wait and see. But if I can just do 5 a week, that's pretty good, right? On top of my Wednesday Myles Dyer live, and then doing Without Parole on a Friday as well. So that's where my head's at the moment. And also making progress. I was talking about I'm getting a guest on for next week's show to do the quiz with me. I've been trying to get guests on the show. Also, I am going to be releasing some new merchandise that I'm really excited about. I've got something scheduled for Halloween. I'm going to see if I'll be able to get it printed in time. But I've just realised if I'm live streaming and wearing shirts, I always get asked about what I'm wearing, and it's always like really cool stuff that's either not sold anymore or you know, it was limited run stuff. It's like, I need to be just wearing cool shirts. And so we had that idea a while ago that I've got written to my left, which was level up with kindness. I've got it designed now, so I'm going to get that into production. I'm going to get it as a shirt. See, I always buy the shirts myself first to see how they turn out, quality control. But I also think it'd look good on a mug. So yeah, there's going to be I'm just going to be making a concerted effort to have more merchandise on the Quest for Empathy store. Just because the quality of the products has always been great. People have enjoyed it. Someone actually bought something from it recently, a tote bag, so thank you for that. And I should actually do a video message. I've just remembered I can do video messages to people that buy. But yeah, I just realised that there's an opportunity here to do more stuff. So routine, process. I'm feeling good and excited about this new phase of my life I'm going into, because on the flip side, I had my parents over today. They've been helping me clear out my garden. And when I was saying goodbye to them, my neighbour, bless her, she came over and saying, "Oh, Myles." I was like, "Oh, hey." She was like, "I was really worried. I thought something was up. I don't think I've seen you in months." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And it is because with my routine, I'm never really seen during the morning. I might go out for lunch to grab lunch during the afternoon. Then I work until the early hours of the morning. I might go out at 1 a.m. or something like that. But I'm just barely seen by anyone. And it was just a nice reminder. I mean, it was very nice of my neighbour to have the concern. And it was just a reminder that I need to be working things out. And so, yeah, I'm working on all of that. All right, I'm just looking at the chat and seeing what everyone... Oh, Jason says it's my 47th birthday. Can we give it up? Could actually do a party noise. Like that. How was that? Was that good? Jason, happy birthday to you. Popsicle says the world is on a metaphorical fire. Well, it's actually on literal fire as well. Climate change is not going away. Hey, Cali Time Cat, good to see you here. Lots of happy birthdays coming in. Chrome Colossus says, let's just talk about how awesome Dreams is on PSVR 1 and how we need to press the new PlayStation CEO to bring it back. Who's with me? Let's go. Oh, that's Nintendo. Let's go. Dreams is great, and I am really curious to see Media Molecule's new projects and stuff like that. Maybe we could have Flat to VR do VR to VR, VR to VR2. That could be our new item, right? Yeah, everyone's so understanding in the chat. We understand, and also hit the like button if you haven't already. Only a third of you watching right now have hit the like button, and I'm pretty sure more than 2/3 of you have a YouTube account. But if not, I adore you all the same. What a long week it's been, Callie says. Yeah, I mean, we have a joke at work where, I mean, it comes from a real thing where we'll be on a Tuesday and people are like, oh, what a week. And saying it on a Tuesday. And it is because Mondays and Tuesdays are most full on because we're prepping things for the week. Wednesdays actually are the nicest for us because we try and keep it meeting free. Which is great. Let's have a look here. Ozzy says, scary times here in the US. We will be getting to that for sure. Atomic says, the world is angry because there's not enough virtual reality. Callie says, it feels very divided. The world, certainly the West. Or we could talk about dreams. Oh, it's Atomic's birthday as well. Happy birthday, Atomic. Callie says, I was wearing my t-shirt earlier. Love it. It's good to hear. Hey, Canuck. Good to see you here. Great job on Grand Rush. Grand Rush was the game. That's the short title, shorthand. Atomic says, social media algorithms are very much to blame here. Negative reactions get viewed and interacted with, so it just loops into a cycle. People are pushed to further extremes. Absolutely. And I notice stuff very close to home with people that I know in my life who I can see becoming radicalized. And radicalized, I don't mean... Sometimes we think of radicalized as being violent and dangerous. It's like, no, I can see them going down rabbit holes, and it's kind of really scary and depressing. The real reason the world is angry is because Bioshock is still not made in VR. Corey says, us, US, tax the world. ICE, not the one keep you cool. The kidnap kind blind. People hate people who are different. They hate all world. We need to hold hands and come together. Love is key. To be happy. Less love. 3 a.m. Mountain Time, was it? When I was talking about. You watched the replays. Well, I appreciate you, Jason. Thanks, yeah. And I always read the comments and stuff like that. So, yeah. And by the way, Arcanage kicks ass. It certainly does. Ass. Global constipation is the reason for all the sad faces. Maybe someone should do a charity single called Bran is Love, Fiber for World Peace. The world needs a giant enema. Oh my goodness. Hey BR, you've come out a great conversation. Callie says, is like your lunchtime because of the nearer the US time zone hours? Is this like your lunchtime because of the nearer US time zone hours? No, I mean, well, Pacific time, this would be 1:30 p.m., but I don't live by that. I tend to live on Eastern time because someone who I work very closely with, who I regard as like, if I was running for president, they'd be my chief of staff, Damien. He's on the East Coast, so I tend to kick off the day mainly. I do a lot of work in the mornings, but I'll kick things off with him for the day. Thank you, Agrimony. It's Grand Rush VR Highway Car Traffic Racing Simulator. And the trophy descriptions certainly are as wordy as the game titles. Could not believe it. Have you got the platinum trophy on that, Nick? Some of them you need to... It's like you need overtaking combos, 500. I'm like, that's not 500 in a row, right? That can't be. Corey says, I've been focusing on me with love and more self-discovery. Learn from the pain and grow. Love is true power. And Chrome says, I'm embracing experimenting with a more regular way to make my artwork. That's good, that's good. All this positivity before we get into the anger. And Melanie Black, sorry, can't speak today. I have returned. Welcome back. Good to see you here. Hope you're doing good. And Corey says, it was my birthday a little bit ago. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday to... Do you know what? For this year, happy birthday to everyone. Not to take it away from people whose birthdays now. This is great. TikTok and Twitter, don't know what Twitter is, are both a cesspit, and Facebook is slowly getting there. Isn't this nice? I could just listen to this music. Atomic says, I still genuinely think most people in their hearts want to do good for one another. People mostly just want to get on with life, which is common ground for all of us. It is. People just want to get by. And people like fairness and justice. If they perceive that things are not fair, they want to do right by it. And George Carlin put it really, really well. And I'm not going to be able to do it justice by saying it in this way, but he would always mention that he loves people as individuals. People individually are nice, but when they get into groups, it's cancerous. People are idiots as groups. Wait, did your clocks change, Mad Vegan? Are we on the same time zone? What's going on? Miles, dial back the talk about empathy, or you'll find yourself on a watch list. Well, this is definitely saying. I mean, Charlie Kirk. Many of the quotes of his that went round, he said something like empathy is like a new age. What was his quote about empathy? He said, Charlie Kirk said, I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage. So, you know, I'm the quest for empathy, dude. Look, all language can be misused, but empathy is incredibly important. But he also said he thought of empathy as very effective when it comes to politics, and that he preferred sympathy over empathy. Sympathy is useful in other ways, but empathy, because sympathy is feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune, whereas empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. I think compassion's very important. I always think that that's a big part of it as well. But yeah. Came for the hate, stay for the chill tunes. Bill Hicks did say a lot of really good stuff as well. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, empathy, getting down in the hole with people. That is a big part of it. Well, I've always talked about like the importance of compassion. A big part of compassion is becoming useful, because you could see someone, the example is you see someone drowning in a swimming pool, and you're like, oh, I have empathy for them. Jumps in after them. I have empathy for you. I'm drowning as well. But let's say you don't know how to swim. You've now created more pain in the world, not less. Whereas compassion is the idea of learning to swim, learning useful things. So when you see someone drowning in a swimming pool, you can jump in, save them, and that is being useful. And this is the question of sympathy versus empathy. Would you prefer someone who feels sorry for you or someone who understands you? Sympathy, thoughts and prayers. I guess it works like that. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I just got a friend messaging me. Just need to sort something out. But yeah, so talking about the Charlie Kirk thing to begin with, what was everyone's thoughts on it? Because the media. So let me take a step back. There have been so many stories about people being gleeful or celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. And I'm just going to give you my perspective. I find the celebrating of any death really effed up. Even if it's like when people are celebrating the death of anyone, even like terrible people, I find it weird. You can be like good riddance, but the actual celebration, unless it was someone, but even then, I don't know. I'm one of those people that when I see individuals forgive like killers of family members and stuff like that, and you're like, oh my goodness, how have they done that? That's the kind of school of thought I would like to be that person. I don't know if I could be. But yeah, I'm not sure I feel. So, look, I think there's a lot of conversations on there's basically extremes on both sides. Like, I do not think about celebrating it. you can feel like, okay, yeah, I don't condone violence and stuff, but whatever. I think that could be the closest you could get to any negativity towards it. And look, obviously people feel what they feel, but yeah, the gleeful nature of it, I find like, oh yeah, I'm really glad he got it in the neck and stuff. But I don't. Nick says, I saw someone say, I don't support what happened to him, but he did. So I'll just, the reason, obviously we're talking about the gleefulness and nature of it. I also know that it's not just the internet, it's how the media is. You always get this where articles get written about what one person said. Now look, in this case, there are a lot of people. There are people on timelines that I see on social media who've been gleeful and stuff like that. I don't think the vast majority of people are like that. But the whole point is you look at the world through like social media and reporting, and that's all that gets focused on because it's there to drive clicks, anger, resentment. And for me, it's a question of de-escalation. I had someone on my Facebook feed who I'm not friends with per se. I connected with them years ago because they played a metal cover on guitar that was amazing. And he did a video after Charlie Kirk where he's walking around and he says like, that's it, down with the left, they've had their chances, we need to bring back public executions and we need to start fighting back. That kind of stuff I find super grotesque, and like, you know, this is all about God, I've just had a weird thing pop up on my phone. I'll talk about it. Remind me at the end of the show and I'll talk about it. Okay? Because that is wild. Yeah, I just see, and in politics, you see a lot of stuff being co-opted. There's been a lot of disagreements. Benjamin Netanyahu talking about Charlie Kirk being such a massive advocate for Israel, but I think Charlie Kirk was wrestling with it because he was a big supporter of Israel, but a lot of his supporters were standing up against the genocide in Gaza. And so, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu was definitely talking a lot about Charlie Kirk's passing in the context of like for their benefit of their cause. Yeah, politics, like it's all just been like trying to pin the motivations on the shooter. It's a leftist, got a transgender partner and like all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, people have lost their fucking minds, man. Like people they want things to be, they don't want it to be someone on their team. So they're just doing whatever they can to pin it on the others. And I'm just like, the world is a lot more complicated than that. And the vast majority of people on the left are not violent people. The vast majority of people on the right, and I could be mistaken, are not violent people. And I worry about the algorithms and how it all becomes a race to the bottom. So Corey says, I'm not sad. I'm not celebrating. I will not feel sad for evil. He was super bad. So can I just explain to you another nuanced view I have, right? And this is how I feel when it comes to discussing things with people when you disagree with stuff. For me, it's about... And by the way, I make mistakes with this all the time and I always try and trip myself up. I try my best never to call people racist. I will say, like, they said racist things, or they are excessively spouting racism. Do you know what I mean? What I mean by that is I do not make people... I don't use labels on people because I think it kind of is easy to box things in. So, like, and by the way, I'm not... When I bounce off what people are saying in the chat, this is not me saying, and you're bad for saying this. Like, I think these are great conversations point. So, I will not feel sad for evil. I'm not someone that uses good and evil. I think it has very, like, old school religious connotations. I have very probably controversial beliefs about... I don't think there's such thing as evil. I think everything can be explained. But it doesn't... But I still think that evil things can be done, if we're going to use the word. And calling someone super bad, I would always be like... unpacking it and thinking about it. And do you know what? I'm going to bring up a video I did a while ago for... it was called A Better Way to Argue. Let's see if I've got it on here. I've got the video, but have I actually got... I don't have it on here. Let me download it. Was it called something else? Let's have a look here. Where is it? Videos. Argument? Was it called? No, it's not there. That's cool. I'm just going to download this. I love the internet that I can do a live stream like this and still have something downloading in the background. Actually, I can download it because it's my channel. There we go. It's downloading. Great. Sorry, I'm just going through all this. I didn't know much about him, but seeing people cheering that he got murdered is fucked up. Yeah. Can I also ask, who here actually saw the video of him getting murdered? I know people that have. I fortunately haven't, and that's not a challenge for anyone to send me stuff. But like the world that we live in where you can see stuff like that. Why can't people entertain two ideas in their head? They can, but I think if people are strongly about something, that can influence it. So disagree with someone, but also mourn the loss of their loss of life of a person. Also, and this, I think this comes to the fundamentals of it. So for a lot of people, a lot of these issues feel existential. So like if you're being denied your existence because of a group that, you know, a demographic that you're in, that can really push it. But I don't know. It's easy for me to say it as, here we go, as a cliche, as a middle-class white guy. It's easy for me to be like, yeah, we should all mourn the death of someone, but I haven't been someone that's, you know, had my existence put on the line. I love that we're having these heated discussions about the world getting angry whilst having this chilled music in the background. The Dank cheese, by the way, that is a great logo. What is that? Swiss cheese? Is that Swiss cheese? Charlie was killed over speaking freely and debating his opinion. So can I just rebut that, right? And look, this is not, again, I'm not picking on you. Just like I want to encourage people to have a chat. So you say that Charlie was killed over speaking freely and debating his opinion. I might be mistaken. I don't think we know that yet. Like, because what you're saying there suggests that was the motivation. You could say he was killed while speaking freely and debating his opinion. Absolutely. And, like, people should be able to debate in public without having violence committed against them. But, to be honest, and this is why, like, communication is really important, because you said Charlie was killed over speaking. I mean, it did happen while he was speaking freely and debating his opinion. Something that is a foundation of America. The First Amendment, I absolutely love. It's the First Amendment right. It's all for what happened. He was not evil. I don't think Charlie was evil. And to be honest, I didn't want this whole episode to be about Charlie Kirk, but I do think that with it being recent, this is probably all we're going to be talking about, and I'm totally cool with that. We're going with the flow of the conversation. I'll explain to you like how I would distill my thoughts about Charlie Kirk. I think that as a person, as a human being, he was pleasant, family man, like really believed in what he did and really wanted to change the world for what he thought was better. Saying that, and having huge fundamental disagreements with a lot of what he stood for and a lot of things that he said. Don't give a shit if people say it's all about context. You can say about anything. He did say some pretty despicable things. But I will never forget in 2016, he had a debate with a progressive commentator called Carl Kalinske at Politico. Politicon, sorry. And it was a really good debate. And my memories of it, and I want to watch it again. The fundamentals of the debate is, regardless of if you believed you sided with Kyle or Charlie, what I found really frustrating, and this is when I normally write people off, not completely, people can always turn things around. For me, it's always about intellectual honesty, and if people don't come across as intellectually honest, then I feel that, like, whether they make good points or not, I can't take you seriously. And so what happened throughout the debate was Charlie Kirk was speaking up for Donald Trump, and he would be criticising Democrats and leftists. And Cole Kalinske on the debate would concede and go, yeah, I agree with you that on the Democrats, like money out of politics and all this sort of shit. But any time criticism was made about Trump, Charlie would never concede anything. And there was a bit where Cole Kalinske went, that's the difference between you and me. I'm actually willing to criticise my own side and you're not. And for me, that is a fundamental in terms of how people are. Charlie Kirk was an incredibly good debater in many contexts. But when it comes to the fundamentals, I'll give you another example. I will never forget watching a debate between Christopher Hitchens and Peter Hitchens. Now, Christopher Hitchens, absolutely incredible debater. It was called Hitch Slap when he owned people, especially when he was doing debates on atheism. His brother Peter Hitchens was a strong Christian. Christopher Hitchens, despite called Christopher, was an atheist. They debated atheism. And that first debate, there was 2 debates back to back. The first debate, I was like, oh my God, like Christopher Hitchens, this is why he's amazing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Peter Hitchens didn't stand a chance. But then the second debate they had was about the Iraq War. Peter Hitchens was against the Iraq War. Christopher Hitchens, he was for the Iraq War. And it was really interesting watching a debate where Christopher Hitchens, I'm like, this guy is an amazing debater. And I'm like, right now, it feels like he's winning the debate. But I know in my heart of hearts that he's fundamentally wrong. And it was a really interesting exercise to watch. And so I think about that a lot. What was really scary was the way blame was put on left-wing people. And this is it. This is like, I know a lot of, like, so this all might make some people laugh going, Myles, you're definitely left-wing. I'm definitely left-leaning. I would like to think, we'd all like to think we're nuanced and like we're complicated. But yeah, like I'm definitely probably on the left. I'm probably progressive in some ways, but I have a very like post-capitalist perspective in terms of how technology, like I share a lot of things with, like, I have libertarian friends who probably hate a lot of what I stand for these days, but funnily enough, I think that what they want to happen in the future with markets and stuff, I think is actually going to happen with technology. And so I'm a bit all over the place. Like when you have those quadrants of where you are, I'm probably libertarian left. Anyway, the reason I mention this is I don't like, I have a lot of people that are right wing that are friends and stuff like that, and I'm very good friends with them, and we have very fundamental disagreements. And I know for the most part, people are getting dragged into this whole thing of like, it's always the left and stuff like that. And oh my God, I heard some depressing stuff earlier from someone I knew, and it really, really worries me. They blame the left, but it was a Republican family, blame game, hypocrisy and tribalism. But the thing is, we might know now, even if it's a Republican family, it doesn't mean that it was right or Republican politics that influenced him in certain ways. For me, it's just about like the brain rot of the internet. And like, I think I'm a bit of an internet child. I grew up without the internet, but then lived with the internet when it first came out in the 90s. But people today, I'll never forget when I had a friend who was a YouTuber come from America, and they stayed with me for a day. And they came over and we were like sat on the couch, and they were just like head in the laptop constantly, just in their phones. And I was just like, hello, I'm here. And I know there's a lot of that as well. with all the different camera angles and people reporting that there were other chances. I did find it weird that there were 2 people that claimed to be the shooter that gave the guy time to get away. But the reality is that in all situations, there's always weird shit that you're going to find. But it doesn't mean it's a conspiracy. I don't know, to be honest. Mad Vegan, I misread it. I thought he deserved to die, you said. No. Again, we're talking about all this with this cheery music. Chilled music. Usually in the Midwest USA, but on holiday. Okay. Never followed Charlie, but know his messages hurt many. Did he deserve to die? No, but I'm not mourning any loss there. See, I think that's a completely fine thing to think. What's happening in the media at the moment is a sense of like the politicians are getting around and going, you must feel bad. Everyone must honour Charlie. And it's like, there's people that die all the time. There were kids that died in a school shooting that day. Like, Charlie died in an absolutely horrific, brutal way that I wish didn't happen. But unfortunately, this is fucking America, dude. Like, the guns and how it's all... Like, it's wild, man. But, like, kids are getting bullets in the neck like that all the time. And it's interesting how people pick and choose. And I will just say, right, for me... It was a watershed moment of, and by the way, I've just noticed that this is the episode that has had the most dislikes, and I love that, by the way, that there's engagement. But I will say, if you're disliking the stream, definitely speak and share your thoughts because would love to hear them. But I do think like the genocide in Gaza is a watershed moment. Like the media literally and the politicians are telling you. It's people are not starving. You know, hospitals are not being bombed, or it's done by the most moral army in the world and stuff like that. And it's like, you can say it for so long, but eventually it's like, you guys fucking lied. And the reason this is the whole thing about empathy and compassion and like a very Christian value of like treat others as you'd like to be treated is. I remember doing a video like 10 years ago about like, is helping others selfish or selfless? The idea of like, if you help someone, you feel good about it. Is that bad? Is that like self-serving? And for me, I was arguing that no, things can be both. Like it can be selfish and selfless. Like the fact that you feel good about helping others is a great thing. The fact that you help someone because you hope if you were in a similar situation, they would do it to you. That is what like a compassionate society should be about. And so when I look on the global space, when I see a people being completely decimated, and all the other countries are like like not even just letting it happen, but they're funding it. I'm like, holy shit, guys! If we're not standing up to that, if something ever happened to us, you'd want people like the reason we should call it out, and you have that moral clarity is so that. That moral clarity will never be lost again in future. Like, the whole never again was said for a reason. And it was to stop these atrocities. And the amount of blind eyes, like, you know, don't believe your lying eyes. And I feel that with a lot of stuff. People are very selective. And that is another form of intellectual honesty that I find absolutely horrific. Sorry, guys, I'm just catching up with the chat. That is also true. A lot of it is being used as smoke screens to cover up a lot of corruption going on as well. And divide and conquer, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just catching up with people talking about if they saw the video. I'm really far behind. So, the scroll on my screen. Do you want me to show you how it looks, actually? This is how my comment box looks. Sorry, that's really zoomed in. It looks like this. So, like, I'm scrolling down, and I'm quite near the bottom, but this is all I can see. Sorry, my eyes here. Is that scary? Hello. Howdy, neighbour. Howdy. But yeah, that's how it looks to me. So you can see I've got 3 dislikes and 23 likes. Yeah, some of you saw it. I've seen... I want to be careful how I word this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. But I am... There is a curiosity there. I've seen some really horrific stuff on the internet in my life. One thing I did see last year, and I'm gonna put my hand up for anyone that doesn't want to hear it. I'm gonna describe something very graphic that I saw, violently graphic, and you can mute. And I'm gonna take my hand down when I've stopped speaking about it. If you want to unmute, okay? So I saw there was an incident in Gaza where Palestinians were going for food, and then there was like the IDF opened fire and killed a lot of them, and there was a tank in the area, and the photo I saw was it was of like a toddler that had been run over by a tank, like completely flattened, guts everywhere, bones crushed, brain everywhere. I'd never seen anything like it. And we live in a world now where like photos like that are important. You have to show the atrocities, but like I think about what sheltered lives many of us live, and sheltered often can be seen as a bad way. No, it's a good thing. Like that is, we shouldn't have to see shit like this, but more importantly, shit like this shouldn't have to happen. And I think that the fact that Charlie's video had been seen, if any good comes out of this, and again, I wish it hadn't happened at all, is that it makes people realise things need to be de-escalated, not escalated. So that's what I wanted to say. Who filmed it? I mean, there were loads of people there in the audience, but also he live streams it, so there was a close-up video on the stage. TJ says white supremacy, Islamophobia, transphobia, racism are not opinions. I mean, they are opinions, but I know what you mean is like they're not just like, hey, my favourite colour is blue. But you're right. Kirk didn't deserve what he got, but he got what he thought others deserved. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he... but then maybe I don't know enough about what Charlie said. I don't think he would have ever have wanted anyone to be killed in that way. But then maybe he had said stuff like that. And that's not me like playing ignorant, like you know. I'm sorry, you're probably seeing me going through stuff. There's so much conversation here. Channel 5 News on YouTube interviewed the guy he was debating when he died. Oh, yeah, I was wondering about that, actually. What was the interview like? I do want to see that. Not graphic at all on that channel, and happy it's not in my head, yeah. Well, funnily enough, everyone, today was the anniversary on Instagram of... of when my band did a promo. There we go. On this day, 2021, Unite. Complete opposite, right? It was Unity in Time. But something I discussed for the last 12 years was that as the internet... This is how I described it, and this was actually the opening as Clouds Gather for our album, but this was based on thoughts I had for like the last 10 years before that. I was like, if you can imagine that every person, every thought, every idea is a dot, and the internet is joining these dots together to make clouds, clusters of communities and people are all joining up, and they're getting into bigger and bigger clouds. And I was saying that if the world is going to unify and become a global empathic civilization, as Jeremy Rifkin wrote about, a book I love and recommend to everyone to read, it means that, like, if you can imagine all these clouds of people and ideas are grouping up more and more, it means that just before the world has to do one more merge to become completely unified, the division between those two groups is the biggest division ever in human history, and that is like the most dangerous. So, like, it's a bit of an exercise, like a thought experiment. But my point has always been that if we ever are to unite through the internet, before we get there, there's going to be a massive division that we have to overcome. And maybe this is how I feel about everything going on at the moment. There's a lot of anger because of falling living standards, a loss of sense of identity and culture, and an elite class that is just racing to the bottom with technological and ecological Armageddon. And naturally, people are worried. People are susceptible for anyone that comes with a clear story. And to be a good storyteller in politics, you need another. Now, the other for me is the elite. It's the people running the show. But it's also possible to point it at other groups. And Michael Brooks, the late Michael Brooks, had a great quote that I have always loved. And I don't want to butcher it, so... he said, "Be kind to people, be ruthless to systems." And I love that. Be kind to people, be ruthless to systems. Just reading through. They see compromise or being willing to accept that they are wrong as an inherent weakness. This is a common feature in the current playbook. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is because a lot of, especially in politics, if Trump admitted he was wrong, he would not have the power he has now. That's how society is. You just need to keep on doubling down. Silver Nexus, good to have you here. Thank you. I'm going to play you a video I made in a moment. I know we're at time, everyone, but this is great. Yeah, I saw there was a guy charged with murder today. Chaos says, everyone always says, I'm kind of more left or right leaning, but I don't agree with everything. Maybe we aren't as polarized. But this is what I'm saying is like, okay, do you know what? There's going to be, can I show you 2 videos I made? They were funded by YouTube, and I got a lot of shit for this video. People saying, oh, it's a commie funded by YouTube. I was given money. I was able to do whatever I wanted. I scripted it. I worked with friends on the video. There's 2 videos. I must have this. Yeah, I've got this, right? So let me pause this. This video has had like 500,000 to 1 million views on YouTube. And I'm not sure I agree completely with all of this now, but I do agree with the overall sentiment. So yeah, although these are YouTube videos, in the context of what we're talking about, this was from like 6-7 years ago now. You ready? A conservative commentator has been banned from speaking on a university campus. Pfft, typical lefties. An African-American man gets sucker punched at a Trump rally. That's the right wing for you. Anti-Trump protesters have been setting fires and throwing rocks at police. So much for the tolerant left. A white supremacist decided to plough his car into a crowd of protesters. Typical violent right-wing fascists. Society feels incredibly divided.
On one side, we have a bunch of commie, virtue-signalling, regressive leftists, and a load of fascist, self-serving, ideological right-wingers on the other. Or at least, that's the impression some loud voices would like to have us believe. But let's just stop and think about this for a moment. If I were to ask you which of these two extremes you most identify with, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you would say, neither of them. And yet, when we look at discussion on social media around some of the world's most pressing issues, there are people who just can't resist boiling everything down to the binary of left and right. Labels that, over time, have morphed into increasingly negative and grotesque caricatures, reflecting the worst elements of our society. And, by being caricatures, they fail to represent the nuanced complexity and character of the mainstream. So how did we get here? Well, for one, the digital age has created an environment where we are on a daily basis bombarded with mass information, leaving many of us still trying to figure out how to deal with it. It's only natural, therefore, that we seek extensions of our pre-existing worldviews, patterns, simplicity, stereotypes, and ultimately, labels. Now, it's worth stressing that this isn't anything new. It's a trend that has long existed in traditional news media for decades. When a dog bites a man, that is not news because it happens so often. But if a man bites a dog, that is news. Is it any wonder why so many news stories of rare behaviour and events, often negative, dominate the news agenda? Let's consider our own struggles. We try to grapple with mass information while navigating through an environment where media outlets offer us worldviews through the lens of selective simplicity. Firstly, when news stories are presented with emphasis on the most extreme and negative aspects, it is easy to lose sight of the wider picture, which actually may be more positive and substantive. For example, if millions protest and several are violent, media coverage and discussion will rarely be weighted towards the wider community and the issues they wish to address. This in turn reinforces the warped perceptions that these labels reinforce. Secondly, when it comes to discussing difficult issues, it takes a lot more time and energy to do so in a nuanced manner, as opposed to putting emphasis on slogans and blame in order to win the argument. Thirdly, in the age of hyper-information, the world can be very daunting due to its size and complexity. So when we are inundated with negative news stories, associating them with a clear enemy can make us feel more in control. If there is an opportunity to pin a negative news story to a personal group who stands for the opposite of what you believe in, the easy path is to do just that, thus helping build up these caricatures and labels in the process. This in turn helps justify the exertion of energy towards extremes, which aren't necessarily reflective of wider society. So what can be done by each of us to help with this situation? Well, for all of us who do not identify with any of these extremes, continue to resist being dragged into one camp or another. Aim to build common ground across the entire landscape of shared ideas and values in an attempt to bring people towards you, as opposed to pushing those who disagree away. Stay willing to accept that life and its issues require nuanced discussion and solution building, and recognise that constructive progress can only be achieved by exploring the detail of differences we hold. If you see someone using labels, don't respond with insults or slogans of your own. Instead, ask them to clarify and unpack the labels they have presented, because if they choose to do that, you steer the conversation into the realms of productive substance. Now, I know that's easier said than done, and of course, not everyone will do you the respect of listening to your opinion. But the more we look to empathise and establish common ground, the higher the potential for healthy and productive discourse. Because by assuming labels and stereotypes, we give these caricatures strength and allow extremes to become more reflective of our society than they actually are.
Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it did 630,000 views on YouTube, and it's literally the likes and dislikes are... Do you know what? Can I actually see it on here? Does it show me? Let me look on the back end. Engagement. Lifetime. Yeah, here we go. It's had more dislikes. There we go. Love it. So that video about dismantling the division, it had more dislikes than likes, which I love. I like it. I didn't expect that to happen, but I was like, Jesus, that's really, really hit home how it's meant to be. Now, does anyone remember Weeble and Bob? Or badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. Mr. Weeble, I worked with, and this was actually the video I was downloading earlier, which I'm going to play now, and then we'll wrap up. I hope you don't mind me playing videos on this stream. Feels a bit lazy, but oh, did it not download? What happened there? Let's have a look. Oh no, it downloaded it on my YouTube account. Let me have a look here. Let me see if I can download. If I can download this quickly, I'll play it before I end. 8-bit Moss Play, you were talking about your religious beliefs and being held down for it. Why should people of faith and love be forced into the closet? Why does your belief system, presumptive secular atheists, be allowed to monopolize the public sphere? Please answer. I mean, I'm totally cool with people practicing what their religion is. I'm spiritual, I guess, in some ways. I was brought up a Christian, and then I just, as I grew up, just moved away from it. I've always described that I have echoes of Jesus in me, and what I mean by that was like it was so indoctrinated in me at a Church of England school. Definitely, those teachings stay with me, but I like fundamentally, I'm probably agnostic more so than anything else. However, in terms of like where you draw the line on stuff, different religions have like. For me, it's about like you need a society where it's compatible with everything. So forget religion. When people discuss their politics, the whole point is we discuss things, we vote on, and then we enact laws that gives us rules to live by, because you need to. Some religions have things that are just not compatible with others, whether it's about things that you wear or it could be to do with certain medication. Like, is it Jehovah's Witnesses? I remember stories of like a kid who died, they needed a blood transfusion, and it was against their religion, so they were allowed to die, which I think is like a form of child abuse. Like, that was not the kid's decision, it was the parents' decision to refuse the blood transfusion. And so I do think like it's difficult. So for me, it's kind of like people should be able to practice what they want as long as it does not cause harm to other people in society. And I think that's also the same. So I mentioned like same-sex marriage and stuff like that. You know, you're completely within your right to only get married to someone of the opposite sex. But if someone else wants to love someone of the same sex and it's not hurting anyone else, I think that's fine and that should be allowed. So yeah, that's what I think. Oh, you can't hear me. You can't hear me. No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I was going to say, call me. Watch the show later, and then you can get back, because I responded to you. But yeah. Okay, it is it letting me download this? Okay, guys. I got another video. This one was by Mr. Weeble I worked with. So I'll play this and then we will wrap it up. Let's have a look here. I actually made this the same year. So this was done 7 years ago. This was in 2018. That was it. It was in 2018. Here we go. Let me know what you think of this. It's not a perfect video, but I scripted it, had a cool animation, and this is what I think we can do to make the world work a little bit better. The world comprises of a lot of people, billions, each with their own individual set of thoughts, experiences, beliefs, and motivation. And with over half of the world's population now connected to the internet, our ability to communicate with others has been extended on a revolutionary scale. This in turn has increased our exposure to those who think, believe, and act differently, during which disagreement sometimes occurs. At least sometimes, though.
But have you ever found yourself in a discussion where nothing constructive seems to be coming out of it? Both sides get defensive, emotion and passion becomes increasingly dominant, or you start losing sight of why the discussion was held in the first place. It seems quite common, and there are many reasons why. For one, body language and tone of voice accounts for the majority of our ability to communicate a message to someone else. And yet many try to debate complex ideas on social media platforms, which cuts these elements out. Online discourse often occurs between strangers who cannot see or hear each other, allowing for an empathy gap to form. If you remove the feeling that you are speaking to an actual person, it can lead to some behaving in ways they would not have done if the conversation occurred face to face. But even when we do speak in person, many of us believe that the whole point of discussion is to win an argument. Not only that, but being wrong is a showing of weakness and failure, not of testing and enlightenment. So next time you have a discussion with someone, why not try the following 7 suggestions to help improve the environment for sharing and challenging ideas. Number 1, start with a human connection. It's very easy to treat the other person as an opponent you want to attack, annihilate, intellectually destroy, or to assume they have bad intent. So why not try getting to know each other's backgrounds first? What is it that brought you both to where you are today in the context of that discussion? You may be pleasantly surprised by what you have in common. Number 2, identify 3 things you agree on. No matter how trivial or irrelevant to the discussion it may be, try talking about movies you like, or things in society you wish to see fixed. Starting a debate with common ground can help massage those empathy muscles. Number 3, make clear that it's okay to say, "I don't know." The phrase is normally seen as a weakness, and it encourages people to steer the conversation elsewhere, or even make stuff up just to avoid embarrassment. This is not helpful, and so it should be made clear from the offset that saying "I don't know" is not a disqualifying phrase. Number 4, encourage self-critiques. It's frustrating when people are unwilling to concede obvious points out of fear of losing the debate. This can create an environment of intellectual dishonesty to thrive. So why not make an opportunity for both participants to disclose criticisms of their own positions? Because after all, no concept is perfect. Number 5, ask questions. It's very easy for discussions to be about just making points at each other, where it seems people only listen to work out when it's their turn to speak. Asking questions signals to the other person that they're being listened to. It also helps us clarify positions that may have otherwise been misconstrued, as there's nothing worse than having a conversation built upon misunderstandings. Number 6, avoid using labels wherever possible. They can mean different things to different people, regardless of what the official definition may be for a particular one. They can lead to generalizations and thus assumptions, so stay clear. But if a label happens to get used, take a moment to unpack it. Even though this will require spending a bit more time explaining your point, it will be more helpful in the long run. Number 7, find common ground. Towards the end of your discussion, identify areas of agreement around the issues you have been debating. Now, this is not to say there cannot be fundamental disagreement, or that you must be on the same page at the very end. These 7 tips don't guarantee that all future discussions will go smoothly with everyone getting along, but they will help steer them in a more constructive direction. At a time when there are so many people with so many things to say, it's important that we do all we can to help open these conversations up, as opposed to shutting them down.
There we go. 2 videos I did in 2018, which was fun, and I would love to do more stuff like that, but yeah. Cool. All right, everyone. Do you know, I had a whole list of notes of things I wanted to talk about on this show, and I didn't even look at them once. Just to wrap this up, I want to say a few things. Firstly, I find the world to be in an increasingly concerning place at the moment, and I don't think it's because of the nature of people or because that the way that things seem to be going are at all inevitable. For me, I think that this is an opportunity, and something I predicted years ago was that the fact that people are at each other's throats online is because 10% of communication is the content of what you say, 90% made up of tone of voice, body language, facial expressions. And the majority of the ways that we communicate is just using that 10%. It's just because of text. And it's why I think the internet can be an incredibly cold, mean, brutal place. I think it doesn't just make us dehumanize other people, it dehumanizes ourselves. It makes us lose the touch and connection that we would have with other people around us, and we don't share that with the world. And my belief was that we're going to get to a point where people are just so exhausted that they're like, enough is enough. And I do think that there is something happening where people are realizing of how cancerous social media and media can be. And it's not just a question that new media is good, traditional media is bad. There's a lot of bad things happening with new media now, whereas corporate media, it was all about advertisements and the control there. New media, there's a lot of audience capture. And for those that don't know what that means, it's like you're building an audience with a certain, if you're doing a political channel, you will build an audience around a set of beliefs or thoughts. And then anytime you stray away from that, you get punished by your audience because they're like, we don't like you saying that. And therefore you get captured by your audience and therefore serve it, which is like serving the algorithm and things like that. So I do think there's a lot of that going on. And so, yeah, the world is very angry at the moment, and it comes down to the fundamentals of a broken economic system. And I felt that for a very, very long time. I'm an advocate for something called resource-based economy. It's using technology to leverage the infinite energy we can get from the sun, near infinite, and democratizing information, power structures, energy. Did I say energy twice? Energy, power structures, information, wealth, all these kind of things. And I think that the biggest challenge of our generation, and I've said this many times before, is we have an opportunity to empower mainstream society, remove the concerns that people have when actually the commonalities and the root causes of a lot of our problems are the same. But for that to happen, it requires the powerful and wealthy to let go of their power and their wealth, which I know many of them are not willing to do. Because if they do it, other people won't be willing to do it, and those are the ones that will take control. And so I think that having, what's it like, bread and circus? What's the saying about bread and circus? The phrase bread and circus comes from the Roman poet Juvenal that says, give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. I think that's part of it. But on the flip side, give them stuff to revolt about that's not to do with us, and they can fight amongst themselves. And there's a lot of that happening as well. And it's the whole left and right stuff. If you just have people bleating on about, oh, the left is this or the right is that, just as I've said in these videos that I showed you today, challenge them. What do you mean? What about the left specifically? What about the right specifically? Asking people to clarify the definitions of the words they use is often the most powerful thing you can do. Because often people just start using words they haven't even thought about. And it's not because they're a bad people or anything like that. It's just that language is all about the path of least resistance. What's the easiest thing to say to get to the objectives that I want? And it's why people throw around labels, because they're like, this is a banner we can stand by against the others, and this is what we can do to push forward our agenda. And what we find is, more often than not, most people want the same things. And so the media and that is always about the extremities. So do think about that when discussions are made. All right. Lots and lots of conversation in the chat still. I just want to say that a massive thank you for people having a spirited, lots of difficult conversations in the chat, but this is why I love it. And as I said, people have been disliking this live stream. Totally respect it. I hope that you felt you were able to share your thoughts in the chat, because we're not always going to agree. There are going to be things that I say. And something I do pride myself on was back when Trump first ran for president, and also when Brexit happened, I explained what I wanted to happen. But I had a lot of people on the other side of the argument that still enjoyed my content because they felt I never misrepresented them. I was saying, like, this is what you're for. I disagree with it for these reasons. And they were like, that's great. I didn't go, oh, they're a bunch of X, Y, and Z, using labels and stuff like that. So, yeah. Cool. We could go for so much longer. Time absolutely flew by. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone. And as always, if we just take a deep breath, breathe easy, and think about vitamin G. So I think this is very important on an episode like this. We've had a lot of discussion, a lot to think about. And this is just an opportunity for you to think about one thing. You can think of many things, but I invite you in the chat to just think about one thing that you are grateful for. It could be a person, it could be an experience, it could be a thing. And even if you don't share it in the chat, you can just keep it to yourself. Just the sheer act of thinking about something you're grateful for is good for your mental health, and it's a good way for us to shake it all off after what has been a very interesting, heated discussion. So on that note, my gratitude is... I'm actually just going to go out to everyone in the chat here. This is why I love these conversations. I know that I have people that watch me from a wide variety of perspectives, and we're not always going to agree, and that's all right. And I say that's all right. There are going to be some things that we might disagree on, which I really am like, yeah, that's not on. And there are things that I might call out and stuff, and we'll cross that bridge when it gets to it. But I'd like to think that when it comes to discussing issues and understanding the human condition and societal condition, the amalgamation of all these puzzle pieces that are human beings, I think it's great. Mojo says, Vitamin G this week is having Myles and all of you in my life to interact on a Wednesday and tackle all sorts of topics on an awesome stream every week. Thank you, Mojo. It's very, very nice. Do you know what? As we're doing this, I'm going to load up a teaser for next week. For the quiz next week. You want to see this? I'm just finding one. Which one am I going to do? Which one am I going to do? Yeah, I think we're going to do this one. Okay, cool. Downloading that, getting it ready. Let's have a look here. All the best, everyone. I'm sure Myles' stream was thought-provoking. I love this, by the way, player, that you were fully engaged in conversation, but you had no idea what I was talking about at all. That's all right. You can just use my chat, just have it as a forum. Don't engage with what I say. Callie says, my eye was playing up with some electrical sparks for a while, but seems to be healing itself now. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad you're doing better. Glad you're doing better now. Corey says, thanks for your time, everyone. Have a beautiful day. I love that. I love that. Let's have a look. Galanio says, Vitamin G, my dad came from hospital. It was nothing serious, but still good. Well wishes. That's good to hear. Okay, feel free to keep sharing them, everyone. Before we end, I never do this. You ready for a teaser for next week's show? Do you want to see what this quiz is? Okay. Oh, shit. What did I do? Oh, my God. I downloaded all of them. That's awesome. I didn't mean to do that, but that's good. All right, guys. Oh, okay. Ryan says, I made a cake for my mum's birthday and it turned out well. What was the cake? And good on you for making a cake. And also, happy birthday to your mum. Here we go, guys. This is what next week's episode is going to be. Wait, is next week Q&A? Because I can't mess this up. Oh my goodness, it is. It can't be next week. Oh, and yes, what's on your phone? Chaos, you remembered. All right, I'll get to that in a moment. So, guys, Cerebral says it's my fault. Blame me. Okay, this is going to be a teaser for 2 weeks, right? You ready for this? Okay. Let's do it. Do you know what? Let's do it in the chat now. The quiz is going to be which is the right way round. Let's just do it now. So I'm going to do a poll. Here we go. Doing a poll. Let's do a poll. Which is the correct way round? Is it the top or is it the bottom? Which one? If you know who it is, it's Colonel Sanders. It's Colonel Sanders. I have 25 of this. I've made 25 of these. Let's have a look. The first person I tested this on actually got it wrong. Easy. Everyone goes, it's easy. Well, I wasn't going to give you a difficult one this time. All right. Has everyone voted? Now I want chicken. Okay. All right. Has everyone voted? Last chance to vote. Vote in the live chat. What's the poll for? The poll is for this. Which one is the right logo for KFC? Is it this one or is it this one? Sorry, that one or that one? Top or bottom? Top or bottom? I love that some of you voted on the poll. Who was it in the chat? 8-bit. 8-bit's not even watching the show. Can't even hear me. So it's probably just going, do I like top or bottom? Here we go. All right, the results are in. The results are... Yeah, it was the top. It was the top. It was the top. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone, who got that right. There we go. There we go. 89% of you were right. So anyway, this is the quiz we're going to be doing. It's going to be fun. And like, you know, I am going to get to what was on my phone at the start. You were asking about this. But does everyone remember this news story? I will never forget this. Colonel Sanders this was it. I'll never forget this. A man impersonating the Kentucky Fried Chicken founder, Colonel Sanders, managed to dupe his way into the UN headquarters in New York and shake hands with senior officials. He turned up and said he was Colonel Sanders. I love the top comment. Who else was disappointed when they realised it was a marketing campaign and not a prank by stoners? But that's great. Isn't that great? Here we go. Anyway. All right, everyone. Okay, you want to know what was on my phone? Basically, I've often talked about how the last therapist I had, which was maybe 6-7 years ago, completely changed my life. They introduced me to the Compassionate Mind Foundation, compassion focused therapy. They were incredible. And there was times where I wanted to book a therapy session with them, like a check-in, when I was going through stuff, and their website had gone and everything, and I was just wondering where they went. I'd used their email, didn't hear anything, all this sort of stuff. And then because I've got, Telegram. Telegram tells you when new people join, and it's just told me that my old therapist has just joined. Has just joined Telegram. So it might be someone else on the same number. But yeah, so maybe I'm going to be able to book myself into a therapy session. which I just want to do. I just want to do a check-in. They weren't a real therapist. Cool. Anyway, guys, we are way over time. Oh, my goodness. But isn't this great? Listen, it's really good to be doing PSVR 2 Let's Plays again. All I would ask is that you just hit the like button when you see them up. And if you got any recommendations of PSVR 2 games I should check out, Madison is coming. It will be happening at Halloween. That would be great. But yeah, I know it's 10:34. So next week it's going to be a Q&A session. So bring all your questions, and I will hopefully bring you answers. But yeah, massive love to all of you. Thank you so much. Do hit the like button before you leave, and I will see you next week. Bye bye, everyone. Where did the time go? Behind us.
I saw you on the road. I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye, big sky. Far away, but dreaming of your ocean eyes. I saw you on the road. I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye, big sky. Far away, but dreaming of your ocean eyes. I saw you on the road. I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye, big sky. Far away, but dreaming of your ocean eyes.
It's the regular song. Wasn't remixed. It's the same song every week. Promise. 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 Oh, all right. Thank you, everyone. I got to get back on with some work. And then in 11 hours' time, I'm going to be live streaming again. And what game is it tomorrow? It's going to be... Oh, it's a story one tomorrow. It is... Welcome to Robo Noir. Welcome to Robo Noir. Have I got it here? It's this. Retropolis 2. Never Say Goodbye. So, yeah, should be an interesting one. But yeah. All right, everyone. Have a good one. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.